ไม่เคยได้ถามอาจจะยังไม่รู้แต่ถ้าถามครูและคุณจะรู้จะเข้าใจอาจไม่เคยได้ถามหรืออาจจะยังไม่เห็นสิ่งที่ครูเป็นก็อยากให้คุณได้เข้าใจ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่รายการถ้าถามครูนะหรือครูไทยไดอะล็อกครับรายการที่จะชวนไปพูดคุยกับคุณครูในประเด็นทั่วไปที่อาจจะไม่มีใครเคยถามครูครับวันนี้พบกับผมครูมะนาวสุภวัฒน์พรหมตันครับ
ครับและผมครูนัทบัณฑิตพันธ์ศิริครับ
และวันนี้ก็เป็นตอนพิเศษอีกแล้วครับพี่นัทคือเป็น International Episode นะครับที่จะไปพูดคุยกับคุณครูภาษาอังกฤษครับ
ใช่แล้วครับแล้ววันนี้นะครับเราก็จะมาพูดคุยกับกลุ่มครูกลุ่มหนึ่งนะครับที่เราสังเกตได้ว่าเขาเข้ามามีบทบาทกับการจัดการเรียนรู้ในประเทศไทยค่อนข้างเยอะทีเดียวนั่นก็คือคุณครูชาวฟิลิปปินส์นั่นเองครับ
จะเห็นว่าในแต่ละโรงเรียนนะครับก็จะมีการให้คุณครูชาวต่างชาติเนี่ยมาเป็นคุณครูช่วยสอนในวิชาภาษาอังกฤษนะครับเพื่อให้นักเรียนได้พูดคุยกับครูที่เป็นคือได้ใช้ภาษาอังกฤษจริงๆคุยกับครูต่างชาติจริงๆนะครับซึ่งเราก็จะเห็นว่าครูฟิลิปปินส์ก็เป็นหนึ่งในชาติหนึ่งที่เข้ามามีบทบาทอย่างที่พี่นัทบอกนะครับแล้ววันนี้นะครับเราจะมีพิธีกรที่จะมาทำหน้าที่สัมภาษณ์ในเวอร์ชันภาษาอังกฤษนะครับนั่นก็คือครูบ๊วยไตรรัตน์ปุยตินะครับซึ่งครูบ๊วยก็อยู่เบื้องหลังกับพวกเรามานานแล้วนะครับแล้วก็มาเป็นแขกรับเชิญให้กับพวกเราด้วย2 EP แล้วนะครับแล้ววันนี้ก็ทำหน้าที่เป็นพิธีกรนะครับดังนั้นนะครับเดี๋ยวเราจะมอบหน้าที่นี้นะครับให้กับคุณครูไตรรัตน์ปุยตินะครับหรือครูบ๊วยนะครับในการสัมภาษณ์แขกรับเชิญของเราในวันนี้ครับ
เชิญเลยครับ
Hello everybody, welcome to Kru Thai Dialogue. Today we have two guests who are going to share with us about Filipino teachers in Thailand. Of course, we have a lot of them, right? Filipino teachers, and they teach and they help us a lot in improving our teaching and teaching our students. Today we will learn more about them. I would like to welcome our guest speakers. First, Mr. Eli Natividad.
Hello, good evening.
And Mr. Chales Cabin. How are you, Eli, now? You are in the Philippines right now.
Yeah, I'm doing fine here.
Yeah, and yes. Thanks. And Charles, how about you?
I'm doing great also. Thank you, Teacher Boy. Yeah,
thank you. First, I would like each of you introduce yourself a little bit. Shall we start from Eli?
Yeah, hello, I'm Eli Natividad. I'm from Baguio City here in the Philippines. And yeah, I've been doing ESL for quite some time now. I'm a teacher of English second language to foreign students. When I say foreign, these are primarily Koreans, Chinese, Japanese, of course, Thai, Vietnamese, and other nationalities who come here to our city to study the English language. I also do training for teachers. So we have a teachers training program here, and it's basically aligned to TESOL. And I manage now an association of VSL teachers. The name of that association is Teachers of VSL Association of the Philippines. So yeah, thank you for having me here. And I hope that, I can contribute to the goals of this program.
Thank you. Seems like you have done a lot in the educational field, right? And Charles, could you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Chales Cabin, and I'm currently staying in Bangkok for a couple of years, a long time already. And I've met a lot of people, sometimes teachers, and I've been here for a long period of time in Thailand. And currently I'm staying in Saraburi right now. Here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as in this episode, we would like to learn about Filipino teacher in Thailand, about your life, about the reason that you are teaching here, and about what you think about Thailand. So I will start from the first question. I would like to start, Charles, because you are working in Thailand now, right? I would like to know what made you come to work in Thailand?
Thank you for that very hard question, Teacher Boy. Right, teaching in Thailand, or at first, I don't have any plan to work in Thailand. But when I came here, my friend asked me to try apply, for a teaching job. But I said I don't have any line of teaching because it's not my profession. So at that time, they told me, just go try and apply and it will be fine. So what I did, I just tried and I got the job at the time. So it was easy to get a job at the time. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a permanent job at the time because I'm not in line with teaching career or whatever. I'm not a teacher by profession. So what I did, they required me to go back to the Philippines and get a certification from TESOL. That's why I got my line and education about teaching from TESOL as well. So I went back there and learned how the basic teaching procedures, how to manage the classroom, whatever. So from the start, then I came back to Bangkok, and I got a permanent job as a teacher instead.
Oh, it's like destiny, right?
Yeah, right.
So you did not have a plan to work as a teacher in
No.
Foreign countries from the first time.
No, I don't have any plan to teach before. I just came to travel at the time.
Oh, okay, good. Lucky for us that you change your mind and become a teacher. So,
Right,
and
right.
how do you find living and working in Thailand?
Living and working in Thailand. First, working is quite challenging. I couldn't say it's so easy because there's a lot of challenges in teaching. First one is the language. So hard to understand Thai. So you have to know at least basic words in Thai so that you can communicate with the locals, with the people around you, especially with the students. But luckily, I was eager to learn the language, and two-way conversation that's what I did during the teaching. I teach the kids, and they will tell me in Thai what's the word in English. So there are two ways of communication that I did it myself. For example, personal experience. So they teach me in both ways. I teach them in English, they'll teach me in Thai. That's a way of happy, sometimes cry because of these challenges that we have, this language barrier and stuff. Because there are also times that they look down Filipinos. Either we accept or not, we are being, oh, you are Filipino, so they make distance like that for a while. But once you build a good relationship with the Thais, you will have this kind of teamwork that they will, as closer than a friend, closer than they'll be the one to help you out, and they will be the one to stand beside you like that one. And that's my experience in working. In living, I kind of in love with the Thai. No, I mean the Thailand. Okay, especially the food. I love the food, so that's what makes me keep going on and everything. And honestly, one of the best food that I ever tasted is Thai food, for me personally. And I love living and talking with the Thais, local with the locals around me, from the motorcycles, from the street vendors every morning, and everything. That's what I'm doing for the past years. I mingle with the local. So I was able to learn the language by doing this, and until now I keep doing it, and I'm still doing it. And yeah, as I said, living here in Thailand is quite fantastic, but quite challenging, and quite a lot of mystery that is happening, and I love adventure doing this one. That's what Teacher Boy.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Eli, could you share your thoughts about the challenges of Filipino teachers in Thailand from the view of the trainer?
Okay, so I learned a lot about Filipinos teaching in Thailand. I mean, challenges and all those things from teachers themselves, from our members. And aside from that, I was able to get a chance to go to Thailand and visit them also. So we had some workshops with them. So yeah, similar to what Teacher Charles has said, I think culture is one. Yeah. So language is another, of course. So these two, of course, are not separated. So stories like, it's difficult to communicate with them, and it's difficult to go around and then do some basic stuff, okay, especially when they are sent to the provinces, because a lot of our members, teachers who I connect with are in the provinces, not in Bangkok, not in, the big cities. I'm not familiar with the other cities in Thailand, but not in Bangkok. So they said that it's kind of difficult to really connect and communicate. So they end up being together, Filipinos, just by themselves, and then but eventually they get to learn the language, and they get to learn to do stuff around, and they get to learn to thrive, okay, in their places. So that's one. Second is I think the curriculum that they have. Yeah, so every time I ask them about what kinds of curriculum are they running, are they facilitating in their classroom, so they always tell me that it's basically more focused on grammar translation. So yeah, they give them vocabularies, and they do some TPR, or total physical response, and then they practice some dialogues. But after that, it's totally gone. So when they come back to school and they get to review the learning materials or the topics, nothing is left. The majority of them, they tell us nothing is left because of maybe motivation, that's one, and maybe because of the clarity in purpose in studying the English language. So these things contribute to retention and maybe interest, okay, authentic interest in studying the English language. So this information allow us to incorporate some methods and strategies that would maybe improve strategies of teachers to motivate students, okay, and improve strategies on how to do some rehearsals in maybe grammar and vocabulary materials, so that it becomes more engaging rather than just memorizing things. So yeah, all these things are factored in the training program. So yeah, so culture is one, so language is another, and of course the curriculum that they're running, which is totally different from what we do here in the Philippines, and of course that goes to say methods and strategies also that would go with the curriculum. So yeah, I think that summarizes the things that I've learned from our teachers, from friends, of course, and from visiting Thailand also.
So according to your comment, you have mentioned that there are lots of differences, right? But between Thai and Philippines education, like education, like curriculum, like strategy. So do you have anything to add more about the differences between the two countries in terms of education?
Yeah. About Philippine and Thai English curriculum, I think there's so much similarities when it comes to the goals of teaching and learning the English language. So in the Philippines now, we're really focused on communicative language teaching, and we're focused on guiding our learners to make use of the English language in a manner where they can freely communicate their ideas. I believe it's the same in Thailand, based on my consultation and of course talks with English teachers. So sometimes I get to check their learning materials, okay, and I see dialogues there, information gap activities. I see role play activities there, okay, things that we do also here in the Philippines. And of course, we know that these activities relate to rehearsals and communication and practice in communication. So I think features of developing communicative competence will be a shared thing between Thai and Philippine curriculum. But when it comes to being immersed in the English language, support of the environment and support of maybe society in acquiring the English language, the separation is very, very clear. Because here in the Philippines, we can always incorporate activities outside the classroom and link classroom activities to that of what's happening outside, because we can support and immerse our students in the English language peripherally or directly. When I say peripherally, you don't have to really interact directly to your environment, because you see English language everywhere. You can hear English songs everywhere. So it becomes part of the acquisition process of the English language. But in Thailand, I think that's something that is missing. So if we are to extend our curricular activities outside the classroom, we can do that here in the Philippines. And that's one very, very important thing to note. So yeah, so that's my take on the difference. While we share features on the goals in studying the English language, there are separations when it comes to delivery strategies and modalities to teaching the English language, and of course, in extending this teaching and learning process outside the classroom.
Okay, Charles, as you have learned in the Philippine classroom, and then you have taught in the Thai classroom for some time, for quite a long time. So could you tell me the difference between Philippines and Thai classroom from your opinion?
Right. In my opinion, when I entered into teaching here in Thailand, in comparison with the classroom setting in the Philippines, it's quite shocking. It was a total shock for me, because about the attitude Thai students when teacher get into the room in the Philippines. I remember my time when the teacher get into the room, the students the students should only keep quiet and everything should be in its place. Books and everything, the chair you should be be ready at all times. And once the teacher get into the room, and you should be ready when the teachers get in. But unlike in Thai, in my first year, well, they do that as well. But once they get into the room, they're throwing things and whatever. Especially foreign teachers, foreign teachers get into the room, they won't less pay attention to it. But what I appreciated, the difference between Thai and the setting in the Philippines, they have a very high respect for the teachers in Thai. But in my case, I totally admired that kind of attitude, and I like that one. But when it comes to foreign teachers, they are much lax, and they feel that they are, oh, we have a friend here, we have a buddy here, so we can play with this one, that one. So the difference is quite a bit similar when it comes to classroom setting. But what I like the most is when they pay respect and wine for the Thai teachers. But again, it's not all setting like that one. But there are also that classrooms in Thai that they are well behaved. They are all pretty much easy to handle. So it's the same thing also in the Philippines. There are also classes that are rowdy, that are also classes that are not too interested in learning. But in other ways, they are quite similarity when it comes to pay respect to the teachers. That's one. That's what in my point of view, this is why.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing, and I'm really happy that you like this kind of culture in our country. Yeah, and so I will move to ask Eli. We have many Filipino teachers in Thailand, and we have heard that there are also lots of them in this region, like in other countries. What is the reason behind this incident? And are there any policies supporting this?
Yeah. Okay. From our interviews and from our engagements with, of course, British Council and usual associations around the region, what we've noticed is it's the rise in or maybe not the rise, but the change in policies in different countries around Southeast Asia, where, like Vietnam, they have really instituted English language learning in their countries. When it's instituted, maybe before they don't really pay attention to, giving longer hours of English classes, okay, longer hours of language education, and they're not open to foreign teachers doing English in their schools, especially, of course, Filipinos. So one contributing factor is the opening up of these countries to Filipinos as English teachers, and the acceptance of these countries to Filipinos to be doing English in their countries. So that's one. That's why there's this mobility of Filipino teachers from the Philippines, of course, going to Thailand and especially Vietnam, okay, and of course China and other countries in the region. So that's one. Second is, the opportunities also here in the Philippines. So if we can maybe come up with some categories like push and pull factors, one push factor here in the Philippines is the lack of maybe jobs that will be offered to English teachers here. Yeah. So instead of, staying here and waiting for their chance or opportunity to join regular school, they tend to go out and go to other countries and explore possibilities there. Second is as a pull factor in your countries and other countries also, it's the salary. So if you compare salaries of teachers here in the Philippines and of course teachers in Thailand and Vietnam and in China, it's maybe double or triple, So I think that's just one big factor that makes teachers decide to go overseas. Yeah. So another one is maybe opportunities to travel also. Yeah. So living in the country is to a lot of Filipinos amazing, so they get to travel to different countries because everything is connected in your region, in our region. So when you're in Thailand, you can easily go to other countries, take the train, maybe a sleeper bus, or maybe take the plane if you want. So these opportunities are readily available to them. So that's another thing. And if you will check the maybe age groups of teachers going outside, going to Thailand and Vietnam, these are the young people. These are the young individuals. Maybe age range is maybe 23, 24, 25. Up to maybe early 30s, and these are the young people not yet married, something like that. So they have a lot of time to really enjoy and explore and realize things that they have in their mind. So these are all contributing factors why we have a lot of teachers going out. So when it comes to policies, actually I'm not sure of that one. But our government is not supportive of Filipinos going outside and teaching there. In fact, our government is silent on that one. When I say silent, there's no support. Okay, there's no support in when it comes to support. Training they give for these teachers to be equipped in teaching Vietnamese and Thai and other nationalities. There's no such thing like that. So when it comes to policies, it's kind of silent, but they're not restricting Filipinos to go outside, to go to other countries and teach English there. So what we do, because there's a gap when it comes to preparation, teachers going overseas and teaching English there, we've organized ESL teachers and those who want to go to other countries. We ask them to at least get a TESOL. Yeah, because having a TESOL is very, very important for them to have, and it allows them to understand, learning styles and learning preferences, and CLT. It's not that common here in the Philippines. Communication strategies that go with it. It's not that common here in the Philippines. But when they go to Thailand and Vietnam, they will always hear CLT and strategies that would relate to it. So. It's a good thing that TESOL is now available to Filipinos, and it's helping them a lot. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, that was a really clear question, and I've learned a lot from that. And so So it means that for teachers who want to work abroad, they need to take some specific course, right, to be able to do so, like a TESOL or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And the last one, this is not the kind of question, but I just asked, would you like to say something or give something about Filipino teachers in Thailand? Like to say to Thai teacher or Thai school, anything?
Yeah, for those who are planning to come to Thailand or planning to engage in teaching in Thailand and Bangkok, there are 3 F I want to share. 3 F. The first one is you need to be flexible.
Yeah.
Flexible at any moment, at any time. You have to be flexible with the culture. You have to be flexible at your time because anything could change at the very moment. So let's not be strict with time because there are changes along the way. So unlike there are classes that are being canceled because of some activities like that one. So we need to be flexible. The second F is to be friendly. Teachers and for those who are planning to come into Thailand to engage in teaching, you should be friendly at all times. Because being hot-tempered, you will lose the respect of the students. You will lose the rapport. You will lose the momentum of their interest in studying. So you should be friendly at all times. And the third F is you should be firm also as a teacher. There is always a limitation between friend and a teacher. So the third F, you have to be firm in your duty as a teacher. So for those who are willing or in planning to come into Thailand, that is what I've learned in teaching in Thailand, the 3F that I applied for. And so far, so good. It works. That's what I'm planning. That's what I'm in personal input to those who are planning to come here in Thailand. And for those who are also listening, it could apply to you as well in different specific ways of teaching. And that's for me also. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. And Eli, would you have anything to say?
Yeah, so I'll just share the things that are included in our training program. So yeah, similar to what teacher Charles has mentioned. So it's about understanding the Thai culture, that's first. Yeah,
Right.
so knowledge about Thai culture and how to maybe be part of it, or if not, just simply adopt with it. Yeah, flexibility is, of course, very, very important as a factor in adaptation. Yeah, and understanding the learning styles and learning preferences of Thai learners. So understanding the expectations about what teaching is and the learning process. So we always tell that to teachers. Yeah, so we've noticed that a lot of teachers who went to Thailand who were not trained in TESOL, they, there's some issues in relation to classroom management and content management. So yeah, we always tell them that they need to prepare, they need to be trained. And then understanding the curriculum, of course, of Thai, of course, specifically in the English language, because our curriculum here in the Philippines is, of course, different from what you have in Thailand. And of course, delivery will be different also in relation to the content. So we always tell them that you have to immerse yourself to the contents and to the goals of teaching English in Thailand and the strategies that, of course, go with it. And of course, it's not the last one, but expectations, of course, yeah, expectations. So things should be clear. Expectations should be clear when you decide to go to Thailand. Things should be very, very clear to you. So you're in a foreign country, and yeah, and there will be differences. There will be, adjustments. There will be gaps, and yeah, since you've decided to go to other countries, then you have to, of course, be very, very flexible in all of those things, and of course, be friendly to Thai people because you're the foreigner there. Yeah, so we always tell them these things. Yeah, and of course, in our association, we would always encourage teachers to go to Thailand, to Vietnam, to China, and to try it out there. Yeah, because we learn from them also, we learn from them also, especially now. Philippines is into internationalization. Okay, internationalization speaks of, us receiving international students, I mean, state universities and even private universities, establishing links with international universities and receiving them as receiving students from these universities. So it's one way for us to learn from learning strategies, teaching strategies, and of course curriculum development. So we learn a lot from our teachers in Thailand, and from these learnings we incorporate these things as we improve our curriculum also here in the Philippines. Yeah. So yeah, again, it's about training, it's about preparation, it's about understanding where you're going, it's about understanding what you'll be doing there. Okay, and it's about understanding the everythings of going overseas and teaching theirs in English, teaching there and teaching English in those countries. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all for us for today. I would like to thank both of you, Teacher Charles and Teacher Eli, for giving your time and give us such a meaningful conversation. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm confident that our audience and everybody watching this will learn a lot too about Filipino in Thailand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
too.
much.
ต้องขอบคุณครูบ๊วยไตรรัตน์ปุยตินะครับที่วันนี้นะครับมารับหน้าที่เป็นพิธีกรแทนพวกเราทั้งสองคนนะครับ
ใช่ครับแล้ววันนี้นะครับเราก็ได้เรียนรู้ไปแล้วนะครับว่าคุณครูฟิลิปปินส์มีมุมมองอย่างไรนะครับต่อการมาเป็นคุณครูในประเทศไทยนะครับแล้วก็มีการเตรียมตัวอย่างไรกันบ้างก่อนที่จะมาที่ประเทศไทยบ้านเรา
ซึ่งก็ไม่ได้ง่ายเลยนะครับไม่ได้แบบเข้ามาแล้วก็จะได้ทำหน้าที่เลยก็ต้องผ่านขั้นตอนผ่านกระบวนการต่างๆนะครับแล้ววันนี้นะครับถ้าใครที่รับชมแล้วชอบใจนะครับหรือว่าอยากจะชมEP ก่อนหน้านะครับก็สามารถเข้าไปได้ที่แฟนเพจถ้าถามครูนะนะครับหรือใน YouTube Channel ถ้าถามครูนะครับหรือครูไทย Dialog นะครับก็ฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามกด Subscribe นะครับมีปุ่มอะไรช่วยกดให้พวกเราด้วยเป็นกำลังใจให้ด้วยนะครับ
ครับและนอกจากนี้นะครับเรายังมีการแบ่งปันข้อมูลข่าวสารเกี่ยวกับการศึกษานะครับทั้งในประเทศและต่างประเทศให้ติดตามชมทาง Facebook Page อย่างต่อเนื่องด้วยครับ
ครับก็ฝากให้กำลังใจพวกเราด้วยนะครับแล้ววันนี้เราทั้งสองคนขอลาไปก่อนสำหรับวันนี้สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
อาจไม่เคยได้ถามอาจจะยังไม่รู้แต่ถ้าถามครูและคุณจะรู้จะเข้าใจอาจไม่เคยได้ถามหรืออาจจะยังไม่เห็นสิ่งที่ครูเป็นก็อยากให้คุณได้เข้าใจ